There's no stories like it. And I say this without ego. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
to pull a fast one on anyone, but
Yeah.
there truly is nothing, no other company that pushes as hard as Brunswick Exploration and that tries to build a unique portfolio and a unique strategy quite like us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. And with us today, Killian Charles from Brunswick Exploration. Killian, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, my friend.
I see the shirt on. When you came on with that, I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool."
Bringing back the classics. I mean, we're going back into a lithium boom cycle just like we did in 2022. So it's time to bring out the shirts from 2022.
Oh, I love it so much. I'm gonna have to bring out the cap for our next interview that I have. I have both of them still
There
that
you
we
go.
picked up at I think it was Explore. I went at PDAC, I believe.
I'm making new hats. There'll be new merch to bring around for
Oh,
investors that come and find me.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I so last few days, and you had a release that came out on April 30th. Brunswick has been focused, okay, on the Anais, right? The release suggests multiple additional spodumene targets, a much larger pegmatite system. Are we potentially seeing like the early signs of a broader lithium district emerging at Anatacau?
Yo, look, I mean, Anatacau has always been a really exciting project for us. Even
Yeah.
what we did last year around Anais, that was just, I would say barely a glimpse of the entire potential. And this is absolutely what the previous release has done, and also what the drilling we've been doing has served is we're hoping will serve to highlight. We still have way more assays to release from Anatacao itself. And everything indicates that we are effectively dealing with a very large system, lots of on strike potential here to rapidly expand. I mean, what we've discovered up till now is fantastic, right? The NAS pegmatite itself, it's large, it's very well mineralized. There was a lot of lithium-rich fluids coursing through there. We
Oh,
even see some very interesting cesium value on top of that. And I'm here to say that, you know what, with the next few releases that we'll be putting out from the drilling that we completed back in February and March,
yeah.
there's more to this. And we will absolutely be coming back over the next few months and quarters because, in my mind, this could be another Mirage on our hands. Remember, Mirage is 52 million tons
Yeah.
with an additional exploration target of 40 to 50 million tons. This is another big asset, and it happens to be right next door to Rio Tinto, right? Rio Tinto's
Yes.
Galaxy project.
Yeah. Well, that's basically it. I mean, when you look at it, Brunswick was noting that the pegmatite intercepted at the Anatau West share basically the same orientation strike as Rio Tinto's nearby mineralization. Sorry with that.
No, no, no.
Mineralization.
I
That's
mean, look, sometimes they get stuck in there
let's
as
get
well.
art. I gotta articulate. So yeah,
So and that's it. And so there's two assets here, right? There's Anitau West, which is immediately contiguous to Rio Tinto. Like, I mean, we are surrounded by Rio Tinto at Anitau West, and literally the mineralization goes from their ground, the pegmatites go from their ground onto our ground. It doesn't get more, I don't want to say ridiculous, but it doesn't get more exciting than that. And
pretty cool.
we then subsequently did some till program, and we found significant spodumene grains in the till further to the east. So we know that there's more to be found. It just needs more drilling. But on
Hmm.
top of that, we
Yeah.
also have the Anatacau Main, which is where we've done Anais and done, all of the recent drilling.
Okay.
And it's shaping out to be this very, very similar. It's hosted in a similar structure. The mineralization, the dikes are oriented in the same fashion. It's just sneakily looks a little bit better than what they have. But yeah,
Wow.
there's no rush around
That's
that one.
that's
We'll stay coy around that one.
okay.
But
Wow, that's
does it make a
crazy.
difference? It is a well-established, well-mineralized system
Yep.
that shows significant potential for growth. And be it at Anatacau West, where we had drilled way back in 2023, or
Yeah.
be it
Okay. Yeah.
Anatacau Main, where we have Anais and are now looking to further expand. There is a lot of upside across these two projects, to these two properties.
Wow, that's crazy. And basically, what we're saying is that the drilling to date basically tested the pegmatites to nearly 200 meters vertically, but yet the system remains open. How much room do you believe there is to expand these discoveries at depth?
I mean, that's the fun thing is that we're right at the start of what looks to be a significant discovery, right? To your point, we drilled down about 200 meters vertical. The mineralization, the pegmatites, they're still there. They're still nice and thick. And even as we marched further to the east, even as that, we had that discovery at NAS, we, drilled 120 meters, then we followed it up with 90 meters at depth. As we marched, as we continued drilling to the east,
Yeah.
I mean, we did a fence, but there's only one hole in each fence. There's still so much upside that we can do there, and we're still seeing pegmatites. We're still intersecting a bunch of mineralized bodies, and when we release these results, people are gonna have to remember that hey, we've only put one hole in this new area, and then as we moved further east, well, what they do? We put only one hole again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of upside both at depth and along strike here. So this is something that will absolutely grow. We see a lot of potential and Anatacau, and that's before we start any of the prospecting. Because if you remember,
Yeah.
we added properties to Anatacau Main back in February, right? We had outlined three new potential areas of interest outside of where we've been drilling, well outside, kilometers away from where we've been drilling.
Yeah.
Wow, if only one of those areas turns out to hit and to contain actually spodumene, because these are all historical reports, or areas where we have evolved pegmatites,
Yes.
so the ones that have the right ratios,
Yeah.
well, we're right back to making more discoveries, right? We're right back to even increasing the size, the potential size of Anitau. So, I
Yeah. That's
mean,
crazy.
I don't want to say it's early days because we're drilling it. It's more than that,
It's
but
true.
there's still so much upside. Investors buying into the stock now, they've missed nothing of the upside at Anatacau. There's still
Wow.
so much more we can give before we even start talking about Mirage, before we start talking about Greenland, before we start talking about our international portfolio.
Well, that's crazy because let's talk about Mirage. So basically, at Mirage, right? Basically, now you have Brunswick has both a substantial inferred resource and expanding grassroots discoveries elsewhere, as we know. We were just saying, how do you balance advancing a defined resource while still aggressively pursuing new district scale exploration opportunities?
I mean, look, that's a very high level corporate strategy that we've brought into the company since day one, right?
Yeah.
That's how we've designed Brunswick Exploration to focus on this blend of, let's prove up value, just like at Mirage,
Yes.
and at the same time ensure that we have a portfolio of grassroots. And the reason we can do this is because to test targets, all right, as I mentioned in the past, is efficient. That's why it's not really a balancing act, it's a bonus. That's what it boils down to. I mean, for us to go test out these targets at Anitau, it's not going to take 2 months. It's going to take a week, right? So that allows us to easily squeeze it into the schedule between drill programs, right? From shutting down Anitau and as we look towards drilling at Mirage, we easily can segue, a week or two on one of these properties, be it
Yeah.
Anatacau, be it Greenland, be it somewhere else, and potentially make new discoveries at very little cost, more than anything else,
Yeah.
and very little time spent. So that's that perfect leverage. And that's what we always recognize that inside Brunswick, right?
Yeah.
That's why when
Of
you
course.
look at a lot of other companies, they don't operate the way they do because if they're in gold, they can't. If they're in copper, they cannot.
No.
But even on the lithium side, I feel like there's a lot of companies that were just coming in with that gold mentality, coming in with that copper exploration mentality,
Yeah.
not understanding the reality of exploration. And look, I can appreciate even from an investor's perspective, it's hard to understand and say, oh, they're scattershot, they're in too many places at the same time. And the simple answer is no. No, because we're where we need to be, advancing assets like Mirage, advancing assets like Anitau, advancing a grassroots portfolio. All of these are done in an efficient fashion. All of these are done rapidly. They don't require me to spend, like a gold project where it's a kilometer down, right? I got to put a drill hole, 1,500. I don't need to do that. I'm drilling 300 meters, angled holes at 50 degrees. That's easy for us to do. It's all at surface. That's easy for us to do. We're able to filter out the prospecting targets within minutes. That's easy for us to do. So
Oh,
it's that efficiency and recognizing this efficiency that allows us to do so much more than company and other companies in other commodities.
absolutely. It's funny you bring up the scatter shot. I just wanted to like go on to that for just 1 second because it's weird that you say that because I've heard one or two people saying that, but I always tell them I'm like, well, imagine if they're hitting stuff at Greenland, they're hitting stuff here in Quebec, they hit stuff in Saudi. I mean, they have localized markets at that point, and Greenland, you're right off the seaways. I mean, like you have access pretty much all over the world. What people don't understand is that the cheapest form of transportation is by boat. This is why with oil shipments and stuff like that, that's what's allowed actually the United States. Its advantage is all of the fact that they can use the canals and get across. It's just the cheapest form of transportation. So you start hitting stuff in Greenland. That's well, you already have. That's it just becomes insane.
Exactly. And on top of that, look, I mean, I can't say I'm going to operate 7 drill programs at the same time,
No, of
right?
course not.
That's perfectly fine. And I'm not planning on doing that ever.
Well, Gangfang
But
wasn't created in one day.
no, no, exactly. But
It's like
but at the same time, there's a net advantage in the sense that, for a lot of companies out there,
yes,
especially single asset companies, what investors may or may not recognize is that that's it. I mean, you live and die by that sword, and you live and die by the next step required in that project, right?
yeah,
So let's say you're in a weaker market, all right, and I'm just throwing it out there. Not that we're actually in a pretty good market on the lithium side, but let's say
yeah.
the market pulls back for XYZ reason.
Okay,
Well, a company that has a single asset and the next program is a 10,000-meter drill program, well, they have no choice but to raise however much money they need for that.
yeah,
And that
it's true.
could be terrible. That could be
Yeah,
highly dilutive.
yeah, it's
On
true.
the flip side, inside Brunswick, we have flexibility, right? If I don't feel like drilling 5,000 meters because the market is weak, then that's not an issue. I will go ahead and do prospecting instead. Maybe instead of drilling 10,000 meters at Mirage, I drill 2,000 meters at Anatacau and make a discovery. Instead of
Yeah,
drilling 2,000 meters at Anatacau, maybe I drill 1,000 meters in Greenland, right?
yeah,
And it's that flexibility that allows us to, one, maximize the value of the dollars that the
absolutely.
shareholders give to us and maximize the chance of doing something impactful. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look back of Brunswick's, 2, 3, 4 year history,
Oh yeah,
even in the weakest part of the markets, even when our share price was being crushed,
yeah.
even when everyone else was doing nothing and they were just sidelining and management was paying themselves a salary to just look at their share price move down, we never stopped inside Brunswick. We were
No,
always doing a project. We were always advancing. We were always coming up with new ideas. And it's that flexibility, right? That's the advantage of a junior. It's that flexibility to be able to maximize the dollars, maximize where we see the most value. And yes, there is a balancing act and there is a complexity to it,
absolutely.
but it is to the advantage of Brunswick and its shareholders.
Yeah,
Us being able to have the conversation of saying, hey, isn't it great that you have Mirage? And on top of that, Anatacau? I mean, that's because we kept working multiple assets. And,
Absolutely.
and now having this conversation, hey, isn't it great that not only do you have Mirage, not only do you have Anitau, but you also have a portfolio in Greenland?
Yeah.
That's because we never stopped. That's
Well,
because we saw more opportunities.
absolutely. So I mean, one more thing about Mirage. How important is it basically for the long-term anchor, like for, Brunswick asset here in Quebec and internationally for you guys?
I mean, it's absolutely important. That's why we worked hard at eventually releasing that MRE like we did at the start of the year. There's no two
Yeah,
ways around it, right?
that's right. Yeah.
We started to feel that even the market was struggling to understand what Mirage is worth. And so for us, it was very, very important to stay and stake out, make a statement, be like, hey, look, guys, this is 50 million tons. It's not 20, it's not 30, it's 50 million tons. And on top of that, there's an additional 40 to 50 million ton exploration target. So we could double it, right? If we put the time and the effort into it. So that's where we want to demonstrate. Look, for us, Mirage is our anchor.
That's
But
beautiful.
at the
I love
same
it.
time, if we believe that, now Mirage, do I want to do a PEA? Not really, because I still have so much of an exploration target to go capture,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
I still have so much upside to go ahead and find and define at Mirage. So it's
Yeah.
really important for me to balance all these assets, but that's something that's really fun. I have that opportunity to balance. Other companies don't.
True, true. And Mirage is exciting. Mirage is very exciting. But listen, Killian, what I find, I want to bring up Greenland a little bit. I want to just focus a little bit on Greenland. I find that probably we're not talking about too much. There's some very interesting things. I want to start off just with a conversation that I had with Eric Lemure. He was on the show recently. We put it out, and we're just talking about the Appalachians and the system and Pangea. We went into all this geology of rock and everything, and the oceans, pulling apart, and we have some that cross through Greenland and off of northern Europe and stuff like that. So he was saying that Greenland itself, there's a potential of mineralization being similar to basically Quebec's, since the Appalachians are running through here. Not just the mountains itself, but the system and what it brings in, even off the sides of it, right? Because when it's going down and then going out because of the way, I guess the whole, I don't know, the whole system. I'm not a geologist. We were talking about that because I found it interesting, and the reason why I had brought that up with him is because we were at Puma Exploration a long time ago together, and he was teaching me about the Appalachian Mountains, and I was like, "What? What are you talking about? It goes into Europe. That's huge." And when I saw you guys are in Greenland, and you're the first to get a lithium discovery in Greenland. Is that a fact?
That is a fact. We're the first ones to make a lithium discovery in Greenland. And, we always saw Greenland as an area of great potential, geologically
Yes.
speaking. We see a lot of similarities, be it the Appalachian, be it a little bit further north into the Ray Craton, which is in Labrador, continuing into Greenland.
Yeah.
We saw opportunities to make lithium. I mean, all of lithium discoveries, all of the ingredients were there, and that's what we rapidly defined. That's
Yes.
what we rapidly demonstrated that, hey, wait a minute, there is significant potential here.
Yeah.
There is an opportunity for us to make lithium finds,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we did in Nook. I mean, our system, the same system we did to make our discoveries across all of Canada, that's what we did in Greenland, and it worked. It made us find the first confirmed lithium showing in the entire country.
Because
And it's one that's going to be growing. There's no two ways around it.
because at Nook, the company identified like 400 meters long, widths up to like 5 meters, containing up to 50% spodumene, and there's a bigger lithium system there. But it seems like the opportunities in Greenland, because no one's taken advantage of it yet, right? That's just pretty much what I want to get down to. At Greenland that people have to understand that you're the first to hit the system, and there's mineralization that's showing that we potentially can have some pretty massive deposits in Greenland because it's never been explored. And there's
And
some
it's
kind
that
of
first mover.
systems.
It's that first mover advantage, exactly as you describe it, right? First mover allows us to pick and choose all of the best targets.
Yeah.
The advantage that we did in Greenland is that we didn't pick and choose the best ones. We picked and choose all of them. We got to see all of them before anyone else. So to be
Wow.
quite honest, unless it's under, a couple of kilometers of ice, I'm pretty confident that we have all of the best targets and control all of the defined lithium targets in Greenland, outside of the ones that are ultra remote, either under ice or at the top of the world. I mean, where there's like, to go back to your discussion on
Yeah.
shipping, where there's
Yeah.
ice-free shipping for like 3 weeks. I mean, who cares about that?
Yeah, exactly.
So for
Yeah.
us, it's absolutely Nook. The discovery we made in Nook is one that is growing, is one that is showing a lot of potential. We have more news release that'll be coming out in the coming weeks here,
Yeah.
based on further work that we've done there. We have, and even on the eastern coast, which we have not gone to yet.
That's right.
Right?
What's the licenses that you picked up on the Eastern Coast,
Yeah,
which
we
is
picked
pretty
up
much right in the system I was talking about.
exactly
Yeah.
Clavering, Hudson Land, all of that. I mean, we've got plans to go there this summer. Starting, I'd say, mid-July until early August,
Wow.
and understand the potential, right? So
That's crazy.
we're the only company doing this
That's
because we
crazy.
were able to consolidate
Yep.
everything before everyone else. That's that first mover advantage. That's why we push so hard on an international basis, because we keep being first movers. We keep
Yeah.
being there before everyone else. And that's really exciting, right? If
Absolutely.
if we
Yeah.
find something, then we're gonna find everything that can be found there because
Yeah.
we own all of it. That's
Yeah.
really massive leverage to our investors.
Well, you guys are definitely proactive. That's for
Oh,
damn sure. That I
I
would say, I don't
mean,
want to use the word aggressive, but proactive. You guys are proactive. Could use aggressive. I mean, but we'll say with proactive. Listen, I have one last question for you. It comes from one of the investors. So in our Telegram, Dom, and he was asking basically, what is Brunswick's next three catalysts?
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to give a little bit more than three because we
All right.
have a lot of driving force for the rest of 2026, and if not into 2027. So on
Okay.
a short-term basis, we have more results coming out from our drilling campaign at
Yeah.
Anatacau.
Okay.
We have at least, I'd say, maybe not at least, but we have two sets of news release to complete and provide all of the results from all of the drilling we've done in February, March, and April. So
Yes.
that's forthcoming. Prepare to
Okay.
see more drill results. We have the start of a prospecting campaign at Anitau. Hope to
That's
put out results on that. Then we start drilling at Mirage this summer. So we're going to see drill results from Mirage as we look to see what is the true potential of Mirage. Not drilling 50 million tons to increase the, from inferred to indicated, not drilling the exploration target, but looking to expand above and beyond what's been done until now.
yeah.
We'll go to Greenland in mid-July. Then we'd like to cycle back to Anatacau in the early fall. And then on top of that, we're going to start Saudi Arabia, and we have other countries that'll be in the picture by then. So you're going to see drill results, exploration results, prospecting results from pretty much now until the end of 2026. So
Yeah.
in terms of catalysts, my simple answer is pick which one you want. You
You
are
know,
going to see catalysts nonstops.
that's crazy. And yeah, well, easy to believe because as I was saying, I was just doing like all of your news releases since 2024, and it is insane. It is insane the amount of work that you do, and you got all of you at Brunswick do is just incredible. Killian, thank you so much for being on Between Plays. I'm always happy to see you, and cannot wait to see where Brunswick's going, Anatacau is going, and you know what, Greenland and Saudi Arabia. And you know, maybe some people don't understand, but if you got all these places all over the world and energy storage, you know, batteries, whatever the hell it is, the future's electrification, energy storage. And if you're all over the world in these specific, not all over the world, but specific targeted spots, you're going to be local. And I said it like, I see you as the Western Gangfang. That's just my thoughts.
Hey, look, I mean, you hit it bang on the head there. For us, it's about having that flexibility, having assets in areas that matter,
Yeah.
that need access to lithium because, you know, especially after this whole Iranian adventure, what strikes up more than anything else is the fact that we need a lot of lithium from a lot of different areas, and that's what Brunswick is here to deliver. There's no stories like it. And I say this without ego. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
to pull a fast one on anyone, but there truly is nothing, no other company that pushes as hard as Brunswick Exploration and that tries to build a unique portfolio and a unique strategy quite like us.
Well said. Thanks a lot, Killian. See you on the next
Pleasure as always, buddy.
See you. Bye.
Cheers.
Between Plays, it's the journey and what you do between where you are and where you want to be. Research, prepare, plan, and execute your strategy. Do your DD and stay strong in visualizing and achieving your goals. Our strategy is unique since 2020. An original concept imitated, never duplicated. Real conversations with media influencers, educational and expert speakers, analysts and consultants. Between Plays, bridging the gap between companies and investors.